name is Vishal Yadav, and on the Pioneers, we have yet another special guest. Pramila ma'am has played cricket from 1991 till 1997, and in over 27 international that she has played, she has got 37 international wickets. She has also led the side in the 97 World Cup, and there's so much that we can learn from her cricket journey. And today we shall dive deep into those little aspects that made her the cricketer that she is. And of course, there are so many other exciting stories that we would try and bring out to you from her Air India days, from her India playing days, and so much more. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Vishal, for having me here.
And let's go back to those old days, how it all started for you. Which year was it when you actually started playing cricket?
Okay. To start was my initial cricket days. I mean, I was a late bloomer, I should say. I stepped into cricket pretty late. I think I was 16 when I started cricket.
Okay.
But prior to that, I was an athlete. But coming back to cricket, I think I remember my first days in cricket was in Mangalore, with the place where I grew up.
Uh-huh.
With my brothers, playing cricket, gully cricket with my brothers. I grew up with 4 boys, so it was always cricket and cycling and the biking stuff, all the boys' games, because I had no other choice. And then we moved to Bangalore in 1984, and I started playing. We were 20 students in the grade 10, and we were 12 boys and 8 girls, and they were always short of cricketers when they had to make 2 teams. So the boys used to just call me again because I was always a sports person. They used to come and join the team. We're short of players. And then what happened was when I was, I think I finished I was practicing to be an athlete, hurdler actually. And the 11th grade holidays, the summer holidays, I used to really be nagging my mom because I get bored without doing anything. If I'm not doing anything, if I'm not busy, I get bored. So my neighbor boy was with all this cricket bag with the YMCA thing, with a cricket kit. And so my mom asked, where do you go? He said, no, I go to YMCA for this coaching camp in the morning at 6:30. So my mom said, can you please enroll her and take her with you? And that's how my cricketing journey started. So I went to YMCA. I enrolled myself for this camp, 1-month camp. And there the coach was one Mr. Krishna. It was with a combined, with boys and girls club group. And there was one coach, Krishna sir. And he used to be the coach of the state Karnataka women's cricket team.
Okay.
All right. And he said, okay, come. As usual, I mean, we started the warming up and the fitness bit, and then nets bit started. He said, what do you do? I said, I don't know. I don't know what I do. They said, okay, take this ball. Can you bowl? I said, maybe I can bowl. I started bowling, and he said, okay, but where did you learn to off spin?
Yeah.
I said, I had no answer. I said, I'm just bowling. You asked me to bowl, I'm bowling.
Okay.
But he said, who taught you to turn the ball so much? I said, I have no answers to your question, sir. I just play. You asked me to bowl, I'm bowling. He said, oh, that's not bad. And then he asked me to bowl again. It was a natural office that I used to bowl. It's not that I practiced or anything. And the ball used to turn square because knowingly or without knowing, mine used to be a finger and wrist spin. It was both.
Okay.
So the turn was so much. Then he said, I've never seen any cricketer so far women cricketer turning the ball so much.
Wow. And
especially on a mat, It was like, it's impressive. And I went through the coaching camp, and then last week or something, he took me, he said, come to the stadium, Kantira Stadium, where the Karnataka women cricketers are practicing.
Okay.
Yeah, they were practicing, the state camp was on. And then he took me there, and then he introduced me to Shanta Rangaswamy and the team over there. And he said, Shanta, this girl is going to play for India sometime. I was like, oh my God, what is he saying? I'm not just begun, and what is he saying? He said, I've never seen anyone turning the ball square like the way she does. And she'll be a top-notch cricketer one day. I was like, okay, I'm not going to play cricket seriously. Hurdles is this thing, and I've been training to be a hurdler. See, in Mangalore, the place where we grow up, it's like they're either athletes or volleyballers. You might have heard of Vandana Rao, Vandana Shanbhag. They're all top athletes, Anand Shetty and Sunil Shetty and things like this, and these guys. So we always grow up in that thing. Either you're an athlete or you're a volleyball player. I was like, cricket is not my thing at all. And then I went back to college. The college team was short of players. They said, please come. At least as a fielder, you'll be useful. And when you go there as a fielder, you have to play, you have to bat. Yeah. And then they made me bowl. And I was, naturally, I was a very good fielder. I was athletic by this thing. And so I was a very good fielder. So it sort of helped me, and I started playing for the college team.
Okay.
And then one of the inter-club matches, I mean, our college team was playing the Falcon Club, which Shanta was leading. And after the match, I remember Shanta calling me and saying that I think maybe you should give up athletics and pursue cricket seriously, because you have the game to play for India. You can play for India in about 2 to 3 years' time if you practice seriously. So I was like, okay. And that thought stayed in my mind, that you can play for India in 2 to 3 years' time. And then I said, okay, fine, why not? And I shifted from athletics to cricket. And that was, I think, and then there was this junior nationals happening in, when I was in my second PU, just 2 months before the exams, there's junior nationals happening in Kottayam, Kerala. And so I was selected for that tournament. And I went there, I got about 13 wickets in 3 or 4 matches, and I opened the innings for junior team. And I used to always get chip in with this 20, 25, such stuff. Okay, although I was not really technically this thing, because I just started, right? I used to nicely swing the bat and used to get those runs. So somehow I had the temperament. And I came up as the best bowler of the tournament.
Wow.
You know, with 12 or 13 wickets. I remember we played Hyderabad, and Rajni Venugopal had already played for India then. 86, she had already, Minothi and Rajni. Minothi was leading the combined universities, and Rajni was leading Hyderabad. So they were the stars of the tournament. They had played for India. They come back from England getting 100 or 150 or whatever, you know, the youngsters, 16, 17-year-old youngsters. So all of us, like, we were awed by these two. And then my match against, I think, Hyderabad, I got Rajni in the 3rd or 4th ball. She was born. And they were like, okay. She just didn't know what was happening. She was new to the thing. And then we played combined universities. And Minothi Desai's team. And I ended up getting, I don't know if I got Minothi's wicket, but I remember I got 2 or 3 wickets in that match. And I know for sure that I was the covers or mid-wicket for her. And she was shocked. Like, she said, like, I mean, you're stopping on my runs. How do you do that? I just, so that was the first step for me. And I ended up coming back as the best bowler of the tournament.
Wow.
And then, of course, had my exams. And then this happened, the junior nationals in Lucknow. In November, it happened. And that time they made me the captain of the Karnataka team.
Wow.
And Mamta Meben was the vice captain. And we went with a good junior team, Mala Sundareshan and some of the other players. And we ended up winning that. And I had a 15-wicket haul, I think, in 3 matches, which we played. Again, we beat Hyderabad in the finals. And I came back as the bowler of the tournament. And after 22 years, Karnataka was winning the Junior National Championship. And since then, there was no looking back, Vishal.
Amazing.
Yeah, that was the junior. That's how it started all for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you made it sound so simple, ma'am. The transition which happened from athletics to cricket, was it actually this smooth, or now when you look back, it looks very...
To be honest with you, I think I was destined to be a cricketer, because I was a natural athlete, and my sports background, I've been an out and out sports person from the day I remember. In school, I remember I must be having about more than 500 certificates, inter-school competitions, athletes running race, 100 meters, 200 meters hurdles, relays and things like that. I mean, looking back, I never realized. Recently I'd gone to Bangalore and I saw the suitcase full of, and I was like, oh my God, have I won so much? And as far as I remember, I saw from grade 5 or 4, I've been the best sports person of the year in St. Agnes, Bangalore, where I studied. And it ended up till grade 10, where I finished my schooling in Bangalore. And I've got, must be, I don't know how many certificates. And I was like, wow, I remember doing sports all the time. You have your lunch, run to the field, doing high jump or long jump, but I used to be on the field all the time.
Great.
And so it's like, see, being an athlete, it really helped, I think. And then I think I was blessed with a natural off-ease. I mean, to bowl off spin. I think it just was natural. And the biggest advantage was my a combination of finger and wrist spin, which was like, which really, I think, and of course, what helped in cricket was to get to that point. To get to play for India, you need to have a lot of hard work and determination and dedication. And I think that's what one thing that I've never hesitated to is work hard. And I think from the day that happened in 87, when Shanta told me that, yes, you can play for India. And then when I got the bowler of the tournament and I think it was like, okay, I'm going to put in my effort. And I completely shifted the focus from 87 to the next 2-3 years was completely into cricket, like 10 hours of intensive training. Wow. Fitness was my forte because I used to work on my fitness. Being an athlete, 2 to 3 hours used to be my fitness every day. I would never miss that for anything. And 87, I think towards December, I came into the state senior squad because I was a substitute, in fact, the first substitute. But then there was this leggy called Priya Darshini or something. She opted out. And so I stepped into the seniors team and went to Hyderabad to play. I went to Hyderabad to play my first nationals. And that was when I saw the big wigs of Indian women's cricket. We played Railways in the finals. So I got to know all the stars, the cream of women's cricket then. It was a good match. My first wicket was stumping for a wide ball. My first cricket. So that was actually the beginning. Yeah, that was the beginning. 87, I think November, December, we went to Hyderabad. That's when I played my first national. It was not a great tournament for me. After the junior national stint, a lot of expectations from me, but I didn't. It was a big stage for me, to be exposed to these things. So, but then I came back. I started working hard, and then we had a South Zone. I did very well. Karnataka won the South Zone, I think, continuously when we were playing together alongside Shanta. And then I entered into the South Zone. I had some great performances in the South Zone tournament against Tamil Nadu, Andhra. So then slowly, 88 happened. Then we played again, 88, 89, December, I think November, we were playing by then people knew me and they said, okay, there is this off spinner from Karnataka and she's supposed to be a brilliant fielder, so you got to be careful when the ball goes to her. And secondly, I heard she's an off spinner, but nobody knew, especially the Indian team ladies, I mean the cream of Indian team, all the Gargi Banerjee, Shashi Gupta, Manimala, Sandhya Agarwal, Minoti and Rajni had seen me briefly and in the junior tournament, but then they knew that it seems there's this girl from Karnataka who's amazing off spinner and who turns the ball square, and she's got a fantastic loop and things like that. But Gorakhpur, what happened was, I don't recall who we played in the quarterfinals. I think it must be UP semi-finals, I don't recall. But the finals was against Indian Railways. And that was 87 to 92. All the 5 years, we have played the Indian Railways, and Karnataka played the finals in the nationals against Railways. So this was 89. And when I just bloomed into a better cricketer. And the finals was we were playing a 90 and 60 over game. Okay, that final. And it so happened that I think the first innings I got scalped 6 of their top order batsmen.
Wow.
Okay, and the second, I think I got 3 or 4 wickets against them. So out of my 15 wicket haul, or 13 or 14 wicket haul, 10 of them were from the top tier from the Indian Railways, which is supposed to be the stars, the divas of cricket then,
Correct.
And I think that sort of really put me onto the next stage of, I got selected for the 1991 tour to Australia. That was in January, February, yes. So that 13 wicket haul or 14 wicket haul in the nationals, of course, we're backed with my South Zone, interzonal performances. I think that put me on the platform and made my debut 1991 for India. Yeah.
Amazing. One thing is quite evident that, ma'am, other than your records, you have a very great memory, I'm sure, because you clearly remember the tours, you clearly remember the matches and the wickets that you took.
Yeah, I don't really remember. I'm not a statistics person, but there are the highlights which I really remember, which really put me onto the next level of women's cricket. So I think nobody can forget that.
Okay.
It's been a wonderful ride, I should say. Yeah.
Did you look up to anyone, taking inspirations from anyone?
Yeah, I would. Rajni Minothi myself were very good buddies, and I used to read a lot of cricket books.
Okay.
I mean, it became my passion. After some time, it was like you give me any cricket book. It used to be. I'll just gobble it up. It is like that, and I used to read all the technical books written by anyone. And so, and I started watching a lot of games. So, and also what happened is one of these tournaments, Diana Idulji, I think it was the Madras Nationals, I think 88 or something like that. We played the Railways in the finals, and then she called me and she said, Pramila, if you want to step up the standard of your bowling or batting, don't play with women. Don't practice with women. Play with the men cricketers. Or practice with the men cricketers. And that's how I went I went back to Bangalore and I really gave it a serious thought. And initially it was, during my college days, it was the young cricketers in Jayanagar. There was a locality where there was a club called Young Cricketers, which was close by. So I went there, and then I found I had Anil Kumble practicing over there, then K. Srinath, off spinner, and then Rajesh Kamath. The club belonged to Rajesh Kamath's dad. So, and then Srinath started, he was off spinner himself. He's now an umpire in cricket, if you know him, K. Srinath. And he sort of started initially guiding me, okay, you have to bowl this way, you have to bowl this way, he being an off spinner. So I used to try and listen to him and take the tips, whatever he used to do. And then eventually, after I played for India, I moved on to Swastik Union, which was one of the top clubs in Bangalore that time, where all the Ranji Trophy cricketers used to play. So I joined them at the Chinnaswamy Stadium. And after that, Vishal, there was no looking back, because these guys really, initially they found it funny, like, a girl coming and practicing with the boys. They were like giving me like, is she out of her mind or something? So I became a pioneer there as well. And then Mamta Mebin joined me in the same club. But I used to get thrashed by them. They were saying, oh, who's this girl coming in bowling for us to be hit? And then eventually they started respecting, and I used to get them out. And they started respecting. We had a very good rapport, and I started enjoying the game, and it was amazing. Yeah, so that's how it happened. And I think playing with the boys really, really helped me to step up the standard of my game.
This debut happened. You flying to Australia to play this game. What was the feeling like? Was it excitement? Was it nervousness? What exactly was it?
Yeah, of course, as a youngest member of the Indian team, I was just about 20. And supposed to be the youngest. Rajni was the next one, who was just about 21. So I definitely was nervous. And but one thing is, anytime I was nervous, the minute I step onto the ground, it just disappears. So I had my first test. I was picked up for the first test in Sydney. And I remember India were literally knocked off for a paltry score by, we had these Zoe Goss and, some of these really dreaded fast bowlers then. And maybe I think 150 or something, I don't know, all out or something like that. And I remember when I went into bat, it was my first test match. And I went into bat. And within, I think, no time, I think 12 or 13 balls, I had my 25 not out. And I went in at number 8 or something, or 9, I don't remember. So I was like fearlessly, everybody was struggling with the bounce, and then I was like, okay, did this here, there, and then everybody were out at the other end, I remained not out, and I walked off. Everybody were like just looking at me, okay, how did this happen? All right, but then I played the first test match. Unfortunately, I bowled at probably about 5 or 6 overs. I was not given more. Maybe Shubhangi felt I was too inexperienced to bowl to the Aussies then. And then the second test match, I ended up as a 12th man, second and third test match. I was 12th. So didn't play much cricket, but I ended up fielding a lot, those huge Australian grounds. Oh my God, I remember running and just running there. Was good. It was not a great tour for me, but I learned a lot just observing the standard of the Aussie players, the pace bowling. I was a keen observer of the game at that point of time. So, and I learned a lot from watching games, maybe men's cricket, women's cricket, or any cricket for that matter. Whenever I had the time in between my practice, I had free time, I used to go to the stadium, sit and watch any league match, whatever is happening there. I used to watch. I would watch the field placements.
Wow.
How the thing. Just I wouldn't even know who's playing, but I would just watch. Okay, this is a pace bowler bowling. Okay, what's the field place? This is a spinner bowling, leg spinner bowling. So I started learning the game. I think which was very few women cricketers did that.
Correct.
One of the cricketers was who really taught me a lot in terms of understanding the game was Mithali Raj. She was one of the best cricketing brains I knew at that point of time.
Okay.
I mean, maybe she still is, but then she was amazing, and she introduced me to a lot of books and the kind of practice that I should go through. I mean, we were buddies, and it was really, really good. And by far, she has a lot to contribute in terms of me growing up and learning the game. I didn't come back very happy. As in, I wish I had more chances to sort of the thing, but nevertheless, I came back and I was like thinking, should I continue or should I not, and things like that. And then, but I continued, of course, and then the 93 World Cup coming in England.
Correct.
Correct. So we started preparing ourselves. I quit Indian Railways in 93, I think. I worked with the Railways for 3 years.
Okay.
And I played a lot of inter-railways tournaments, which was really good. We won one of the tournaments under the captaincy of Mamta Meben, another fantastic cricketer who uses brains.
Right.
And that's it. We grew in terms of cricketing, learning the game, watching the game, and we matured as cricketers. Playing for Southern Railways, and then I ended up playing for Indian Railways. But to be honest with you, I didn't enjoy Indian Railways as much as I did for Karnataka, because the simple reason being, you have all the best players there. You don't have challenges,
Right.
When you're playing against them, you have a better challenge.
Right.
All right. So I quit and I came back to play for Karnataka again. And I think just before the World Cup, Women's 93 World Cup in England, we had a Nationals in Hyderabad, and I was captaining the Karnataka team. Shanta made way to a said, okay, it's time the youngsters take up. And then I ended up leading the Karnataka team, and I think the South Zone team as well that year. And that 93 tournament actually was an amazing tournament for me in terms of this thing. We lost to Railways in the finals, but I have some interesting moments to talk about that tournament here.
Okay. I will definitely want to cover that, the Air India moment, the railway days. Railway, I think you played only for 3 years, so there would not be much to talk about that, but I'm sure from Air India days there would be ample of stories.
Absolutely. I mean, Air India days are some of the best cricketing moments of my career. Of course, Karnataka, I've had some great moments, but if you ask me, which is the best moment for Karnataka, I would say this 93 when we played in Hyderabad. We were playing. Okay, Air India had just formed a team then.
Okay.
And it was led by, I think, Arundhati Ghosh.
Arundhati Ghosh ma'am was initially given the opportunity.
And then they had brought in a few players like Minoti Desai and Arundhati. Then there was Nilima, and then I don't remember the names, but they were all some ex-cricketers who came in and they formed a team. And then we were playing Air India in the semi-finals. And we were about, I think, they scored about 165 or something. I don't remember the exact scores, Vishal. When I went to bat at number 6, Shanta, Kalpana, all of them got out. And when I went into bat into number 6, we had 10 overs to go and 52 runs to win. I had Mala Sundareshan. He's a very good top order batsman at the other end.
Okay.
And when I walked into bat, I could clearly see that the Air India team was celebrating already. Okay, we were 5 down or 6 down, and the body language was like, okay, we have made it, we're going to the finals.
Okay.
And Mala and myself, we just spoke, we just started playing. Okay, we said, okay, you need 10 runs per over.
Okay.
And you believe it or not, I think we finished the match probably on 1.5 overs to go.
Wow.
We scored at almost 12. I got, I think, a 45 not out, and I got 3 wickets against them. And I got the player of the best bowler or player of that match or something like that. And I think we still had about 8 or 9 balls to go before and we finished it. And there was only one person who believed that we could still do it, and that was Minoti Desai. And she went on telling apparently to the captain, don't undermine her capabilities because she's very solid on the drives and lofted shots.
Okay.
I don't know how it happened. Magic between the two of us, Mala and myself. 10 overs, 52 runs or 53 runs at that time was like something big for us. Now it's a piece of cake. But at that time, it was definitely not. And I remember the stadium, Hyderabad stadium, and we went into a celebration mode after that, because that itself was, for the Karnataka team, was the biggest victory. And then we knew the Indian Railways, yes, it was again the cream of all players. And, it's a difficult challenge. But then I think that remained as a fantastic thing. And that gave me, when we went for the World Cup, and we went with a lot of confidence into the World Cup, So that was in England in 1990. That was my first World Cup for India,
We can go on and we can talk hours about your Air India days because there's so much that the players have told me about their Air India journey. There was a special feeling playing for Air India because they got all the better facilities. They were always put in hotels, not in dormitories. They used to travel fancy. I think you guys were the first to get air travels. I want to talk to you about this first opportunity when you got to sort of build this team from scratch. I think it was 96 when you were handed the.
We went to England for the World Cup in 93, and that season they had this team which we beat in Hyderabad. But then we went for the World Cup, and we had some of the youngsters had a good run in the World Cup. Purnima Rao and myself. Again, Puri is a very good friend, and we had a great run against England. And I think we lost the match by 11 runs. We brought it so close. I don't remember whether 6 runs or 11 runs, but we brought the match so close. And I think then, I don't know if you remember Anuradha, if you've heard of Anuradha Datta. She was the secretary of the BCC, for the Women's Cricket Association of India then. And she literally, she's somebody who contributed so much to women's cricket at that point of time. And she was in UK watching the matches with us. And then I don't know what happened. After that match, I think they decided that, okay, I think it's time for the veterans to move, the Dianas, the Shantas, the Gargis, and just to move aside and pave way for youngsters. And I think, that's when after the World Cup, you see, all the senior veterans, the veterans exited from the Indian team. And a new team they wanted to build a new team with the youngsters.
Okay.
And we came back, and that match, I was like, I was a very fast runner. Being an athlete, Vishal, I was a very fast runner. My running between the wickets was, I was very, very fast. I had to adjust always to the other person, obviously. And what's her name? She's icon in women in England. She just called me after this match, and he said, "Who taught you to run so fast between the wickets?" I remember we had a great time, Puri and myself, and that match it gave us so much confidence because it was England, the world champions, and we brought the match so close, and we said, "Oh, okay, not bad. We can also do it if you have this thing." Then we came back, and then I got a call from Air India, Mr. Dilip Pinge, one of the finest gentlemen I've ever come across, and he plays a big role of molding my career in Air India. And he said they were coming for selections to Bangalore. And when he came to Bangalore and we had a selection, they said, "We are coming to select the Air India team. We want a new team. We want a young team." So I said, okay, I knew that I would walk into the team. There was no doubt about it. And then he called me aside and he said, "We would like you to lead the team."
Okay.
I was like, wow, all right, that's not a bad thing. I said, "Are you sure you want me to lead?" They said, "Yes, we want you to lead." And that's how it all started for me with Air India. And there's no looking back, Vishal. It was a team it was a team of stars, the youngsters, I should say, Anju Jain, and it was, who else was there? Chandrakanta joined us, Anju Jain, Rishija Mudgal. Anjum Chopra came in a year later, I think, Mamta Meben, there was Rishija Mudgal, and then there was Manjunath Gowda. Then Deepa Kulkarni and Sangeeta Kamath came in later, I think, after a couple of years. And we formed with Renu Margaret, Chandrakanta, Anju Jain, by far some of the best players I've ever played with. And we formed this team. We started coming to Bombay practicing. And then we got ready for a first Delhi Nationals. It was a star-studded team with all youngsters. The Railways had all the golden oldies, and we were supposed to be the hot favorite to win the tournament, Delhi Nationals.
Okay.
And you should listen to this interesting story.
Yeah.
I mean, something that we all can learn from. Came and at the Palam, the airport grounds. Yeah, where I think it's Palam. And so we were playing our first match against MP, led by none other than Mithali Desai. Okay, my friend, and she came in with this bunch of these juniors, like all about 16, 17 years old. Okay. And for us, of course, we are all the stars. We just come back from England, and we've all come together. And we were chasing some 145 or 150, and we said, okay, it's a piece of cake for us. We have all
I guess.
160, I think, yeah. And we said, okay, it's a piece of cake for us. We have all the stars, Anju, Chandrakanta, and Rishija, and all the Smita Harikrishna. So we said, okay, it's easy, and we started batting. That was the first match, and that was on 31st of December.
Okay.
And believe it or not, Vishal, and we lost that match by some 23 odd runs.
Oh.
We were completely grounded that day by this young team led by, I told you, Mithali was thinking cricketer. And she completely stumped us, and it was like that New Year's Eve was pathetic for us. I mean, in terms of, we went back to our room, Nutan Nathu was a manager. We got a great this thing bambooing that day, because we were bashing. Yeah, of course, we were supposed to be the favorites to win the nationals. Give Railways a good this thing, and supposed to be. And trust me, that sort of that loss humbled us so much, and we all were individually good, but as a team, we never got. We came together because we had just formed a month ago. And we never formed, but then that loss taught us so much, and you won't believe it. After that, there was like, we grouped again, practiced, we had a strategy, and I think the next tournament onwards, I think we went to Bijapur or something, and there was no looking back, Vishal, for that team. It was so good, so good. Bijapur, we beat the Western Railways to win the trophy, and after that, a number of tournaments we won. Wherever we went, we won the tournament. And then we had, we beat the Railways. I mean, the team grew in strength, from strength to strength. Of course, the only setback was Air India at that point of time were not absorbing players, giving jobs. They were only giving contracts to players. But some of the best memories I've had is playing for Air India and practicing at MIG in Bombay. I mean, it was an amazing stuff. And all of us were so dedicated. And those 2 years, then came 1995, the New Zealand Tri-Series,
Centenary,
which was the Centenary Cup or whatever it was called. So we really grew, and as a team, we gelled well. I mean, we became close friends, and different parts of it. It was diverse, from different parts, to bring them all together as a captain. Where you say someone wants sambar, somebody wants chole bhature, somebody wants the food. Everything is different, To keep this team together, to bring this team together was quite this thing. But then it just happened. Yeah.
Okay. I'll come to the 1995 tour because it was special for a lot of reasons. It was the first time, I think, Indian team went to New Zealand, beat New Zealand and Australia. The stalwarts back in those days. But now that you have brought the topic of Air India versus Railways, and we all know the rivalry between these two domestic teams, which one is your favorite match played in your cricket career, if I had to ask you?
See, with Railways, I've had a long run of rivalry with the Railways. First, it was Karnataka versus Railways when we played 5 nationals successively from 87 to 92.
Okay.
And 93 rather. And then from 94, it was Air India versus Railways. Still, I sort of quit the game.
You were always against Railways.
Always up against Railways. It was only those 2 years when I played for Railways, which I really didn't enjoy because I never liked. It was a drab playing for the Railways. It had all stars, but when you play against, always you're playing against a weaker side. That sort of your enthusiasm goes down. That eager to perform. It's like, oh, okay, just another team. It's an easy match for us. But when you're playing up against them, then you have a point to prove. Okay, it's really good. So I prefer those kind of matches than playing for the strongest team in India at that point of time. Okay. Yeah. So, of course, like Karnataka, I told you that, we played 5 years successively, and then we moved to Air India. I think Kolkata Nationals was the one which we really worked hard, and we wanted to. We were all mentally set to beat Railways, and we went in there with so much confidence, not overconfidence.
Okay.
And we knew what happened when we were overconfident. And so we went in with so much of confidence there, Vishal, and we made it. We lifted the trophy, and I think that was Kolkata Nationals was one of the best matches, tournaments we had, and the finals against Railways. Yeah, of course, there was always that rivalry of these olden goldies with, golden oldies with this current younger crop of cricketers, and they always wanted to prove a point that they're better, and we okay, we are going to sort of ground you. That there was a nice. There's a healthy competition. Of course, banter was always there on and off the field. The competition or the rivalry was always on the field, but off the field we were very good friends, having fun, eating out together. So it was good. Yeah, there was no such bad vibes between us. It was just always a very healthy competition, and we continue to be friends with some of them even today.
Amazing.
So it was good fun. Yeah, it was good fun. Yeah.
That's the beauty of women's cricket. You were also one of the first people to be full-time employed by Air India.
Yes.
Yeah. What happened
96,
after 96? And you also got other cricketers along, and you also made sure that even they are contracted and even they get full-time jobs.
Karuna Jain was one of them. Rishija Mudgal, then Anju Jain, then Anjum came in, Julan came in. Julan was, of course, part of the Air India team that I played for the last 2 years, I think. So,
okay.
It was, so but she came in a bit late, I think after 95 or 96. And so all these, of course, but then Air India was not able to sustain and continue like Railways. The edge Railways had is that they always, they could afford to give, because of their vast, they could afford to give more jobs. And I think that's where they had the edge of getting, because when a player is contracted, she doesn't feel safe. Okay, next year we don't know whether. But then Railways, what they used to do is, if somebody's performing in Air India and she's contracted, they used to pull them out to Railways. So, and it's a long-term job, it's a permanent job, right? So why not? I couldn't stop anyone from going and joining them, because it's the question of their career. So, and a long-term job. So, and we couldn't give those jobs to the players, as many jobs as we could. So, that's where definitely they had an edge over Air India. Yeah.
So, there's this one incident which I remember, ma'am. I think you also spotted Mithali Raj when she was around 14, 15. And you saw that spark in this young child, and you also made sure that she gets a sports contract, an equipment contract. You got it done for her?
Yeah, I first saw Mithali was in '97. Everybody were talking about Mithali, and we had a practice match against Australia, I think, at MIG, if I remember right. And Mithali was one of the players who was playing that day.
Okay.
And I remember she took a brilliant catch off my bowling at mid-wicket, and I like the way her attitude, the maturity she had at that age. I think I became an instant fan of Mithali's.
Okay.
And she was very young, like you said, 14 or 15. I don't remember how old she was, 15 maybe.
Yeah.
And that was the only match I played with Mithali. And then I knew that girl had the potential. And I think I must have sort of initially signed up with one of the cricket companies that I was playing with.
Okay.
And that's the least you can do for an upcoming cricketer.
Right.
And she continues to remain one of my most favorite cricketers till date. Yeah.
Correct. I think she is the one who sort of brought the Indian cricket back into limelight after 2017 Women's World Cup in England.
Absolutely. I mean, I think we have to acknowledge Mithali's contribution to women's cricket. There's no doubt about it. She's somebody who's contributed a lot, and there's much more she can give after her probably her last dance, whenever that is. She can give a lot to women's cricket. One of the most mature, grounded cricketers that I've ever. I mean, I'm not really in touch with Mithali. I've been outside India for the last so many years.
Correct.
But whatever I see her on the field, the way she carries herself, the way she talks, Very grounded, very humble, very, very impressed. Very, very impressed with the personality. I mean, and she continues to remain my most favorite cricketer, all-time cricketers.
Okay, that's like one legend talking about another, and
no, Mithali is in a different league. Yeah, he's an amazing cricketer. Yeah.
Now let's go back to the Centenary Cup that I was talking about, 1995, Australia, New Zealand, India, and India were initially considered underdogs. They were not expected to win, but then things changed, and this team went to the finals, beat New Zealand by 20 runs. You had an important role to play. I think you got 2 wickets there, and we won the match. And there was this Hong Kong trip, I guess, which was announced for the Indian side by the team manager that time. Tell me about
bonus.
As a bonus.
Yeah, for winning the 95 was by far one of the best cricketing tours that I've ever been. Now, to make it interesting, I have to tell you this. When the team was announced, Purnima Rao was the captain and I was the vice captain.
Okay.
And we had all the veterans knocked off from the team, and including Dina Dulji, Shanta, whoever that is, all the cream, the the golden oldies are all dropped, and Anuradha Datta ma'am decided to send a young team to New Zealand and groom the team. And I remember one of the former cricketing icons of women's cricket, I remember reading an article in the newspaper that this is the weakest team to leave the Indian shores. All right?
Okay.
It didn't matter for us. We were least bothered. We were happy, enthusiastic that we are going to New Zealand. As a young team, Anju, Rishija, Smita Harikrishna, Purnima Rao, we had Deepa Kulkarni and Neetu David, one of the best left-arm spinners. Yeah, and then Sangeeta Dabir from Mumbai, and Chandrakanta, another favorite cricketers of mine. And then who else was there? I think Julian was later. So we were happy, and we landed on the New Zealand shores, and we started playing Vishal. You have, you won't believe it. From practice match to the tournament, we just, all of us were not great cricketers, as in, we were not those icons of cricket.
Right.
But all of us were utility cricketers, and we contributed each and every match. You could see that we came together as a team. And the first match we won, and then we won the first one-day match, and then I think in between we played a test match. We did well, and every match, of course, I remember I had a contribution to the victory, and I felt so good about it. And not just me, it was everyone who contributed every match, and that really showed that the teamwork. And we were all youngsters, and one after the other, we went on to become better and better every match. And by the time we beat Australia in the first one-dayer, and then we beat New Zealand, and then we said, "Oh, we can win this tournament." Because everybody started talking about it. We became celebrities in New Zealand. The Indian crowd there just started following us, and what happened was to our advantage, the men were not playing well. They lost, I think, the semi-finals to New Zealand. So all the Indian
journalists, the media,
residents, the media, everyone, okay, the women are in the finals. So, the focus came on us, and I think we became, and when we won the finals at Wellington, it was amazing. And the way each one of us, if you go through the scores, every match, all of us, Sangeeta Dabir, Chandrakanta, Puri, Anju, Rishija, myself, Smita Harikrishna, all of us had contributions in every match. And I think by far it was one of my best tournaments in terms of batting, bowling. It was by far one of the best. And we played as a team, we won, and we were like so elated, because we had these critics who said, "Oh, they're not going to make it against Australia and New Zealand," and we came back with the trophy, and it was really, really good. Yeah, it was one of the best series I've ever played in my career. Yeah,
amazing.
We're all over the press, the newspapers, and things like that. And definitely, I would consider that was definitely redefined women's cricket, Indian women's cricket at that point of time. And I should say that Miss Anuradha Datta was definitely responsible for that. I don't see any credit given to her today, but I think she's one lady. She was like an iron lady, you know, as somebody who contributed without any returns, you know. She was a lawyer by profession, but she's somebody who really sort of made this happen. And, you know, I think that was a defining moment for women's cricket in India. Yeah.
Lovely.
I mean, and we played Australia and New Zealand. We played the best teams in the world. So Correct. It was really good. And we beat them hands down.
And, you know, it can't get any better than that, right? You beat New Zealand in New Zealand. And also in a 2 years' time, there's World Cup approaching. And that is happening in India. So probably this win would have given the team a lot of confidence, I'm sure.
Absolutely. I mean, we came back so confident. I mean, we could conquer the world at that time. You know, it was like that. And with a bunch of youngsters with no expectations, people criticized us. Okay. And, you know, they thought they'll just go and come back. But then, you know, when you came back with the trophy, it was a different story altogether. 95, we came back from New Zealand and then we played England and India. That was in October, November. And midway through the series, I was a vice captain. I took over from Purnima Rao as the captain of the Indian team. And we had a couple of, we were down, I think, by, when I took over, we were 1-1 in the series against England. And I took over after the Jamshedpur test match. And then we went on to win the series. The last match was in Madras when we won against England 3-2. That was my first stint as a captain for the Indian team, followed by the World Cup. Yeah.
So did this captaincy come natural to you, or you had sort of developed it over the years?
I think I was not a natural as a captain. I think it came over the years, leading the Air India side, Karnataka side, and I had to learn a lot. And I learned Shanta was a great captain. Mamta Meben was a good captain. Minoti Desai was a very good captain. I like I told you, I was an observer of the game, and I learned a lot. I used to talk to people. I was always willing to learn, I think, which was my biggest plus. And so I think this thing helped me. And when you manage a team of young, high potential cricketers, I think it's very easy as long as you're able to make them perform, manage the team well. I think winning is not difficult. It's more difficult when you're leading a team like Karnataka and then you have to make this. But then when you have Anju Jain, Anjum Chopra, Julian, and Smita Harikrishna, these guys, Chandrakanta, you know that you have the game. It's just about managing and bringing the team together. True. It becomes much easier. But as a captain, I think my biggest drawback as a captain was I started underbowling myself because I wanted to give others a chance to bowl. And I felt that if I bowl too much, they'll think that, I'm the captain. So I think somewhere down the line, I feel, when I look back, I feel that I think that was a little bit of a mistake that I made. I mean, I didn't think of myself there, but I thought of the team more. I should have bowled a little more than I actually did at that point of time. Probably it would have helped me, a little more in my career, but then no regrets. Absolutely. I mean, I've been a fair captain. I always feel that I always feel that I've tried to give each one opportunities to grow, develop themselves, and play for India. So, as a captain, I think that was my responsibility to give them chances. Yeah.
And then, this 97 World Cup, which was, one of the most awaited events back in 90s, and it was happening in the home country. And also, WCI had scored a sponsor for this particular tournament, which was huge back then. Now, tell me about this tournament, because I know for a lot of reasons it was special. This stayed in, the final which happened had around 70,000-80,000 people. And there was this one match, I think, which changed the whole perspective and which changed the whole outlook for the Indian side. And it was, I think, the tied match against New Zealand.
See, we made history by drawing against New Zealand in Indore. But I mean, looking back, I don't think I would want to be part of that history because I think that changed our chances of playing the finals. Because if we had won that, probably we would have been at Eden Gardens playing the finale against Australia or whatever, which would have been amazing given the fact that we had 60,000 crowd. We would have probably, given women's cricket a much more exposure at that point of time if we were there in the final. So we literally dropped the World Cup because of that result, and we lost that opportunity to move into the finals because of that drawn match. All right, so World Cup, yes, 1997 was just on the flip side. I mean, I would say that a little bit of organizational blunder as when it comes to women's in the Indian team, because we played most of our matches in the north of India, and it was foggy and cold.
Oh, is it?
Every match that we played was reduced overs match, 32, 35, 40 overs, I think. I don't think we ever played a full 50-over match starting from West Indies. Whichever match we played, we didn't play a full. Even in Australia, the semi-final we played 32 overs match.
32 overs.
32 overs, I think. So I felt that, whereas all the England, the Australian team played in south of India, they had huge scores. They had amazing sort of run with the bat. The scores like 200 plus always. And ours was always, it would be between 100 and 120 and 150 because of the reduced overs, the poor visibility. I mean, there's a lot of factors that contributed. So I would say that probably if we had played in Bombay, in the south or the west of India, probably we would have done better and we would have had a better chance of moving into the finals. But yeah, I mean, it's fine. I mean, there are a lot of factors that went into that, I'm sure, given they wanted to sort of popularize the game with the crowds, and they felt in the north we would have more crowds coming in, and the south and the west and the metros rather.
Right.
So it was a good run, the World Cup, but yeah, I would have preferred to play the finale than just lose to Australia in the semi-finals. So yeah, that'll be my biggest regret, if you ask me, would be that not scoring that one run. These are the things that literally stays with you for days, and you go through that. What I should say, the disappointments and when you lose a match. For example, this was one of the matches. It took days for us to sort of get over this, and for me as a captain, it took months to get over this, because that one missed opportunity. We could have put India in the finals. That it always comes back to haunt you, and matches like I told you, our first match against MP in the Delhi Nationals. When we lost, I mean, it was like, it's heartbreaking for us, for the sportsmen. But then the positive side of it is that these are the things you learn. I mean, when the chips are down, how you bounce back, as a sportsman, these are things that teach you a lot in life, and I think it makes you stronger as a person, and you really, really learn to sort of deal in life for the challenges that life presents you at a later stage, much better than a normal person. A sportsman I feel is better equipped to, because you go through these disappointments, those heartbreaking moments when you lose, and those joyful moments when you win. So you sort of learn, you have a balance between how to handle those successful moments and how you manage these challenging moments, those heartbreaking moments, highs and lows. Yes. Say so that taught these such things. I mean, at that point of time, is very, very, disappointments, and you can't sleep for days, and things like that. But then it teaches you a lot, and it sort of prepares you for the future challenges in your life. Yeah, maybe you step into the corporate world later, your job, maybe it teaches you a lot. So yeah, so I feel mandatorily kids should play some sport, because they go through those highs and lows at a very young age, so that they're able to face life better when they grow up.
Correct. And I've also I've read it somewhere that cricket teaches you a lot of life lessons, and I'm sure these highs and lows which you just mentioned, those are just part of your growing up, because they eventually make you better as a person, make you better as a human being. So 97 World Cup, this the tight match against New Zealand, and then you all went to play against Australia. And this was your last match. This was your last international match that you played for India. Did you know that this is going to be my last match, or was it a conscious decision which you took after the loss against Australia?
Yeah, I mean, I think the New Zealand match itself, I was okay. I think my time is up. I think I need to move on. And of course, I was probably 27 or 28 then. I think when I knew it was early. I had definitely 3 to 4 years of cricket left in me.
Precisely.
But then and I had I had 13, 14 years of cricket behind me. the traveling, the practice schedules. Like I told you, I used to be one of those first cricketers used to be in the ground at 6:30 in the morning. I don't remember leaving the ground by 6:30 in the evening. So those 10 hours, it used to be 10 to 12 hours of grueling practice, and then bowling on. Like I told you, when it came to hard work, I never compromised on that. And I learned a lot from all the Karnataka men cricketers who I used to practice alongside with, because the dedication was so much, and you see them, and then you want to, you want to sort of, they become your role models, and then you want to perform. And then we used to bowl on a single wicket, keep a coin and bowl sometimes in the afternoon between 1:30 and 4:30 before a net started. So hard work is something that I never was scared of, and I think I gave it my 100%. But then I think those 10 to 12 hours every day over the years and years, and the traveling bit, especially after Air India, the late night flights and things like that, I think I came to a point when I was like sort of fatigued mentally. And I said, I think I need to do something different, and I need to do something out of cricket. So that's when I think I decided, by the time we lost the semi-finals, and then I said, I think it's time to move on. And I said, okay, fine, maybe this is the right time to announce my retirement from international cricket. Although, a lot of people told me, don't. You still have cricket left in you. And I was called in the following year to lead India in England in June. I mean, they played in 98. 98, 99, I think. 99. They played in England. They played in June. Yeah. So I got a mail from Delhi. That's Shirupa Bose, who's no more. That why don't you pick up the boots and come and lead India in England? But then I think I had my mind was made up, and I had got married. I had had a miscarriage then. So I thought my priorities sort of shifted, so I just said no to them then. And otherwise, I would have, if I decided to go back, I probably would have led India in 99. I think Chandrakanta ended up leading that side, if I'm not mistaken, if I'm not wrong. Yeah. So that was it. I think I had my stint of 13, 14 years, and I had a very good stint. In fact, it was very good, the 13, 14 years of my cricketing career. I had enjoyed every bit of it. And, every step I sort of, I got a platform to become better and better. First, it was Karnataka junior team, then Karnataka senior. South Zone, I performed. I led the South Zone team. And then I moved on to Indian Railways. And then I moved on to Air India. And then I moved on to, of course, the India happened in between. So I think I've had a very, very good career in cricket, and I absolutely have no regrets, Vishal, whatsoever. I mean, I know I could have played another 3-4 years, but then, it was time to do something new. And I think God put me on He opened new doors to me. I came into Abu Dhabi, and then, I started a new career, something that I would never dream of. And, now the last, of course, 20 years has been totally different. Now I work for a corporate. I work for some of the best corporates in India. I mean, in the UAE. So the transition became pretty smooth. And then I had my 2 boys. And, my time went in sort of taking care of them. And the first few years, cricket was just forgotten. I was totally out of touch. And now, I think after the last World Cup, I sort of... I can't say completely I watch women's cricket, but then I've started watching. I saw the Mithu, of course, is somebody I always love to watch her bat. So whenever India was playing and Mithu was batting, I used to watch and then switch off the television, and I used to just sort of... And it's just that I had a very, very taxing job here. So I couldn't really focus on watching these women cricket play. But then I think the last one, when again it caught my interest, was the Harmanpreet's knock against Australia.
171.
That was mind-blowing. I was like, wow, really? Indian women cricketers can play like this? That was one match. I was like, okay. I think they've really, really blossomed, Indian women cricketers. And that changed. And then after that, every now and then, whenever I have time, I watch the ladies play.
Okay. Your 2 boys, you mentioned, do they watch women's cricket, or do they watch cricket in general, or do they know who Pramila Bhat is?
Initially when my eldest one was about 8 and 9, and I was saying, anyone introduced me, who she's former India women's cricket captain. He's like, Mom, please don't talk about cricket. It's embarrassing. And then as he grew up, then he the school in the high school and all. I when BCCI gave us a 25 lakh check, and I took him over there and to Bangalore when this happened, and then he was like, wow, Mom, actually you're famous. And after that, he really acknowledged, and he feels proud. And of course, the younger one always, they're proud that Mommy was a cricketer. So that was when I took my eldest one there. My younger one couldn't come, and he was like, he's never seen that kind of a crowd because they've always grown up here. Right. So, and he watched the match. He's a big time RCB fan, so he got to watch the match. I don't know where RCB was playing, I think, that day. Yes. And then he saw Mommy being given the check alongside the other cricketers, and he was like, wow, okay. Then after that, it was like in school, if there's anything, then he'll talk, no, my mom is a former Indian cricket captain. And they're really proud of that, he's my eldest one, of course, is a big time cricket fan, and others, my younger ones, of course, they follow soccer more than cricket, but then he knows everything and anything about cricket. They do follow cricket in a big way. He's studying in Bangalore now. So he gets to see a lot of cricket, and every time there's a match, he's like, Mommy, I need the passes. So it's he's a very avid cricket fan.
Amazing. How easy or difficult was this transition, ma'am, for you from being a cricket player and then to being a mother, then to being married and not having cricket next to you?
It takes a lot, Vishal, to be honest with you. To make the transition, because in and out, you're for years you play cricket, you're committed to a game, and then you're in the limelight, and you have your interviews every now and then, you're in the paper and things again. Suddenly to sort of transition for this, it is difficult. I mean, it is very, very difficult, and I don't think everybody has handled it or can handle it. It takes a lot of determination to make the move. And for me, it was quite difficult as well, I should say. But then I think the blessing was that my eldest one happened to me in 2000. So I came, and then, my focus completely shifted, and I got into a good job here in where I'm staying in Abu Dhabi. And then I suddenly realized that, I think this is my priority now. And raise the child and be with the child and the cricket. Now that's one of the reasons I said no to going back to women's cricket, because I thought if you go in there again, you get sucked up there, and then you sort of get involved and things. So that's where I think one of the wisest decisions that I made in my life, not going back to women's cricket at that point of time, because that really helped. And of course, 3.5 years later, I had my younger one. So those first few years, 10 years, just went in, and then I had like I told you, I had a taxing job with one of the American consultants and engineering firms here. And between the kids and the job, I didn't have time to think about cricket at all. Although, nothing, except for my walking or my fitness, what I used to do, the gymming here. I had no time for anything else those years. So it's sort of, for me, at least in my case, it's sort of the transition initially was a bit difficult, but then I think once I had the kids, it became pretty easy for me. Because I was very clear where my priorities should be. I said, this is when I was in cricket. Yes, my 200% was in cricket. But when I chose to have children, this is where my priorities or my focus should lie. So that, I think, probably makes the difference. You can't be in two boats,
Right.
Oh, maybe I want to do a little bit of that. Maybe I want to do a little bit of this. No, that doesn't work. So I gave myself 100% to my work and my family over here.
97 and 2020. It's almost 23 years now. If given an opportunity, if given a chance, would you now like to come back to cricket?
Definitely, yes. Cricket has been my passion for years, and I think I would definitely like to come back to cricket. Definitely, of course, as an official or somewhere contribute back to the game. I don't know. I may have my chances coming in the next couple of years.
Amazing.
People have called me to come in for some commentary, such stuff. But then, practically it's not possible for me to, because my work enables. I have to travel a lot for my work right now in between countries, so I can't really travel. Go back to India and do these part-time thing. But maybe 2 years down the line, I may think of or in the next couple of years, I may transition into slowly and steadily into probably commentary, or I would definitely like to be involved in the grassroots development of women's cricket in India.
The grassroots development is something which needs a lot of work there.
Absolutely. I think that is where we should focus on, and it's not the metros that I'm talking about. The schools in metros, that's going to happen anyways. I think it's the Mufassal areas that you need to focus on. And if there's an opportunity, I would like to focus on the Mufassal areas than the metros. And I could definitely contribute. And I think within 5 years, we could bring in a lot of Mufassal cricketers into the team, which I think should, that's what BCCI should focus on.
Okay.
Spread the game into every small towns and cities, all over India. And that, I think, there's a huge potential everywhere, especially in the Mufassal areas, which needs to be tapped. I think 2020 has redefined women's cricket, and I think it's the need of the hour, Vishal. And why not? I mean, IPL men's IPL is doing so well. And I think IPL is happening. I think we are going to have the IPL for women as well. And I think, is it being played in the UAE?
Yes, ma'am.
That'll be interesting. Yeah, but then I don't understand I think 3 teams and 4 matches.
Correct.
I don't know if that's a good idea, because IPL is for women is a must for sure. And I know that there has been some articles on the WBBL in Australia clashing with IPL. There have been some news. They're all in the news because it's clashing or something like that. But then at the end of the day, I mean, I think IPL would definitely be a platform to showcase the talent, the women's cricket, and to popularize women's cricket in a bigger way. And of course, playing alongside men is a good idea, but then I don't think we should. We probably should play a week earlier and just have the women's IPL separately instead of sort of tailgating on the men's game. Just say, because otherwise we always tailgate along with the men. In between the men's matches, there's one women's game. But I think we should have our own identity, and we should probably have it 2 or 3 days before and finish it off. But whether 4 matches a week, 3 teams, whether it's a good idea, I don't know. I don't think I don't know whether I don't think I can comment on that. But then I think there's enough talent pool in India, and I think if we structure it properly, and I think we have a great potential in the coming years. In 2 to 3 years from now, we could have a full-fledged IPL women game for women's cricket. In women's cricket rather.
Correct. So again, these 4 matches are more like an exhibition format. Very similar to what happened last year in Jaipur. But that was pre-COVID era, so there were around 15 to 20,000 at the Savai Mansingh Stadium to watch the finals of Women's T20 Challenges. Yeah, it was a great tournament. It was a massive turnaround. But now with COVID restrictions, let's see what the result would be for the IPL.
Yeah, I mean, COVID has brought our lives to a standstill, isn't it? I mean, things have changed. I mean, every sportsman must be desperate to play the game, whichever game that is. And of course, again, like you said, it's the crowd that matters. And the fact of the matter is the women cricketers have to make it entertaining, and the BCCI has to make it entertaining. And, it has to be a product that can be sold to the masses, basically.
Precisely.
And if that can be achieved, I think, we have a great tournament coming up there. And it's up to the women cricketers to raise the bar and make it happen. And in 5 years from now, it could be a different conversation if this really structured and clicks. It could be a different conversation altogether. We have a great talent currently in the women's cricket. We have who is that? We have Harmanpreet, we have Mithu, we have
Smriti Mandhana.
Smriti Mandhana, yes. Yeah, sorry, I'm not very familiar. Yeah, Jemima Rodrigues, yes. But then you need to have a pipeline. You need to keep building the pipeline, and for that it takes a lot. And there is a lot of homework to do there. There is a lot of work to do there, and you cannot have a pipeline unless you actually build a pipeline. And for that, to build that pipeline, we need to have a structured program.
For sure.
And so that is something that I would love to focus on, if given an opportunity. Yes. I don't want the limelight. I don't want to be in the limelight. But yes, I would like, definitely, there is a lot I could give back. And give it a chance, yes, I would probably come back if the veterans have to make way for the next generation of youngsters like us, and then we make way for the next generation of youngsters. So, that's how it should be always.
Great. Yeah. On that beautiful thought, I would like to sort of end this conversation because we want to keep it short and crisp for the viewers, but I know that we can go on and on talking about women's cricket and about those golden days when you played cricket.
And thank you so much, Vishal, for having me on this podcast. It's been a pleasure. I mean, after years, I'm talking about my cricket. After years, literally.
Oh, is it?
So it's been really, it is. I've not hardly spoken to anyone. It's been years, and it was really a pleasure to be on your podcast.
Amazing. Thanks for this wonderful chat.
Good luck.
Thank you so much.
Good luck.
Thank you for your time.
Bye-bye.